I want to talk about the secret weapon for the Miami Dolphins that apparently is a secret. And apparently people don't know about this secret. And people are talking about other things. And they need to talk about one thing that is imperative and why it's a conversation. I know my man Chris Perkins had the article talking about, maximizing your roster and all that kind of stuff, right? And has Flo done it better than McDaniel or anything like that? And let me tell you something. Neither guy has maximized his roster. So if Flo played Tua, let's say he played Fitz for the first 2 games, 3 games, then you bench him and you play Tua the rest of the way for the next 3 years, right? He was here for 3, I think it is. Do you not end up winning more games? No, 2 years. Do you not end up winning more games? Probably, right? Because you're not going to win more games with Fitz or with Brissett. Okay. Last year, did you maximize things last year? Because you could have blitzed Will Levis and you might have won the Tennessee game. You could have blitzed Lamar Jackson. Maybe you win that game. Could have changed. You never know. Mike McDaniel could have known what down it was in Buffalo 2 years ago. You might have won that game. Right? Maybe the Green Bay game, Tua doesn't get injured if you stick to the run. The Buffalo and the Green Bay game that year, you were averaging 7 and 9 yards a carry. You didn't stick to it. So if you're McDaniel and you constantly lose challenges, and you don't know when to stick to the run game, and you don't know what down it is, did you maximize? If you're Flo, you don't even know what quarterback it is. Did you maximize it? You couldn't build an offensive staff. You had several offensive line coaches, offensive coordinators. Did you maximize it? I would say no. That's where I would disagree with Perkins. Do you want to know what the real secret weapon is? That I think everybody keeps overlooking, except me, of course, because I keep talking about it, and I've been talking about it from day one. The secret weapon is called Chris Greer, Marvin Allen, and Reggie McKenzie. That's your secret weapon. I'll throw Brandon Shore in because of the contract negotiations. So you've had 10-9-9 in wins the last 3 years. You could have won more if you used the right quarterback, if you were actually coaching right, and those kind of things. So who's providing the talent? After all, Flo didn't want to. So, who's providing the talent? The front office. Front office is going to give you easily talent for 9 or 10 wins. It's up to you. Can you do better? Can you maximize what the front office is giving you? Because even with injuries, they go and find people to fill in throughout the season. They find people off the street. They find undrafted people. Look at this year. Now we've got Storm going to make the team. You're going to try to sneak Isaiah Johnson through the practice to the practice squad if you can, because the Syracuse kid has kind of opened up eyes, right? So, it just McMorris, second year now, shining. It's just the front office is the real bomb. These coaches are still young. Flo had a lot of shit to figure out, not just his people skills. He could not build an offensive staff. How do you maximize if you don't know how to build an offensive staff? Not exactly sure. And I look at McDaniel's staff, and it's much more complete than Flo's staff. So I would tell you that the secret weapon for the Miami Dolphins is the front office. And they do an awesome job, overall. And as they continue, it's only going to get better. And eventually I'll see some of the things that I really want to see is like a couple of really nasty studs on the offensive line. That's what we need. That's the next hurdle that they've got to overcome, but they'll be fine. They're getting by with what they have now, and they're doing what some of the coaches want them to do. So it is what it is. But at one point or another, I think there'll be some kind of a heavy commitment somewhere in the draft in the next year or two on that line again in the early part of the draft. But outside of that, the front office is the bomb. They're the ones that are going to give you the talent to get there automatically. That floor is there. The question is, as a coach, are you special enough to get past that threshold? Because this league is made for you to win 7-8 games easily. Talent-wise, it's not that much of a difference. Even if you screwed up in the draft, you could hang around 500. Okay, so now, can you get that 9th or 10th win? Okay, so now you're doing a little better than average. Okay, now are you special? Can you get into the playoffs? Can you now start winning in the playoffs? That's when you really start to separate yourself. And part of that is being able to coach up your talent, know what quarterback to play, and build a staff. So I'm not exactly sure that Brian Flores really maximized when you can't build a staff and you also played the wrong quarterback at times and berated the only good quarterback that you had. And when I look at McDaniel, well, I could pick at things the last 2 years where he should have won another game or two, where he should have done better, and he screwed up. And it's on him a lot of times. So I would tell you, don't worry about it. Dick Vermeil cried his way to a title. Tom Flores and Tony Dungy were cigar store mannequins. John Madden and Jimmy Johnson were maniacs on the sidelines. Bill Walsh was an intellect. A lot like McDaniel is an intellect, but he does have humor. He brings a lighter side to it. I don't think Bill Walsh was that. But Bill Walsh was completely different than all the other guys. There's no right way or wrong way to do it, but you do have to get results. And Tom Flores and Tony Dungy, they had zero emotions on the sidelines. And they have 3 Super Bowls amongst themselves. So I've witnessed every kind of coach win it all. But you've got to be the guy that knows how to get the results. One way or the other, I don't give a shit. There's no right way or wrong way. There just isn't. It's all about results. And in the end, nobody will question that McDaniel sounds like a surfer or a stoner or whatever if he starts winning in the playoffs. That's all. No, they stopped worrying about Dick Vermeil crying after every press conference. We literally had an NFL coach, for you youngins that don't know anything about Dick Vermeil. Like, he cried, I don't know, 70% of the time after games when they would ask him about certain players and things like that he cares so much about the player and their sacrifices and all that. Like, it really freaking hit him, dude, emotionally. Like, he would, and it was, there was no bullshit there. Like that was real on his part, you know? And it was a beautiful part about Dick Vermeil, but a lot of people blamed him for like they thought, oh, well, that's soft. And then when he gets to St. Louis, I think I told the story yesterday, the day before, that they hated him because he had 3-hour practices. And they were complaining. So it's interesting. But the front office is the real deal here. They're the ones that know how to get it done, man. They're the reasons.